Welcome to Everyday English in Canada. In today's video, we're going to talk about a powerful and enjoyable way to improve your English. Watching movies. You'll discover how immersion works, how subtitles can boost your learning, and how to turn simple entertainment into a learning habit that actually brings results. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to hit the like button, share it with your friends, leave a comment below, and of course, subscribe to our channel Everyday English in Canada for more tips and strategies to make your English learning journey fun and effective. Immersion through movies. When it comes to learning English, one of the most powerful tools we have is something that many people overlook: movies. Watching movies in English isn't just entertainment. It's not just about sitting on the couch with popcorn and enjoying a good story. It can actually become one of the most effective and enjoyable ways to immerse yourself in the language. Today, we're going to explore why movies can accelerate your English learning journey, how they help you connect with the real spoken language, and what strategies you can use to make the most out of this practice. Let's start with the big idea: immersion. Immersion means surrounding yourself with the language so that you start thinking, hearing, and even dreaming in English. Traditionally, people think of immersion as traveling abroad, living in an English-speaking country, and being forced to use the language in everyday situations. That is an amazing experience, of course, but it's not always possible for everyone. Not everyone can buy a plane ticket, live abroad for 6 months, and interact with native speakers every day. But here's the good news. Movies bring the world of English to you, right where you are. They give you access to voices, accents, expressions, and cultural references without having to leave your living room. Now, you might be wondering, why movies? Why not just textbooks or apps? The answer lies in Tide's authenticity. Movies are written and performed by native speakers. They reflect real conversations, real emotions, and real cultural contexts. When you watch a film in English, you're not only listening to grammar rules and vocabulary lists. You're experiencing the language in action, the way it's actually used by people in different situations. You hear how someone says, "What's up?" instead of the more formal, "How are you?" You notice the subtle differences between "I gotta go" and "I have to leave." These are things you won't always find in a classroom, but they're essential if you want to sound natural and confident. Think about it. How many times have you learned a word from a dictionary, but when you tried to use it in a conversation, it felt strange, robotic, or out of place? That happens because language isn't just about words. It's about context. And movies give you exactly that. They show you how words live inside real conversations, surrounded by emotions, gestures, and situations. That's why learning through movies feels so alive. It connects language with meaning. Another powerful benefit is that movies train your ear. When you listen to English in a film, you're exposed to different accents, speeds of speech, and tones of voice. At first, it can feel overwhelming. You might think, "They're speaking too fast. I can't understand anything." But little by little, your brain starts recognizing patterns. You start catching familiar words. You begin to predict what comes next. This is the process of natural listening development. It doesn't happen overnight, but every time you watch a movie in English, you're strengthening your listening skills in a way that no textbook exercise can replicate. But here's something important. Don't expect to understand everything right away. In fact, that's not the goal. When you watch a movie in English, especially at the beginning, you'll miss words, you'll miss sentences, and sometimes you'll feel lost. And that's perfectly okay. Learning through immersion is not about perfection. It's about exposure. It's about training your brain to deal with the language in real situations, even when it's messy or incomplete. Think about how babies learn their first language. They don't understand everything at once. They listen, they observe, they repeat, and slowly, the language becomes part of them. That's exactly what happens when you immerse yourself in movies. Now let's talk about the emotional side. Learning a language can sometimes feel like hard work. Grammar rules, endless vocabulary lists, exams, all of that can be exhausting. But when you watch a movie, you're not just studying. You're enjoying yourself. You're laughing, crying, getting excited, or maybe even scared, depending on the movie. These emotions are powerful because they create stronger memories. If you hear a phrase during a dramatic scene that moves you, you're much more likely to remember it than if you had just read it in a boring exercise. Emotion turns language into something unforgettable. For example, think of a famous movie quote that you still remember today. Maybe it's "May the Force be with you" from Star Wars, or "I'll be back" from Terminator. You didn't memorize these lines from a vocabulary list. You absorbed them naturally because they were connected to a powerful moment, a story, and an emotion. That's the magic of movies. They transform language into memory. Another reason movies are so effective is because they expose you to cultural context. Language is not only about words and grammar. It's also about culture. The way people greet each other, the jokes they tell, the references they make. All of that is part of communication. By watching movies, you gain insight into how English speakers think, behave, and interact. You start to notice cultural details that go beyond the dictionary. For instance, you might see how people use sarcasm or how humor works differently in English than in your native language. This cultural awareness makes your communication richer and more authentic. Now, some people might say, "But movies are too difficult for me. The actors speak too fast, and I don't understand enough." And yes, it's true, movies can be challenging, but that challenge is exactly what makes them so valuable. If everything was easy, you wouldn't grow. Think of it like exercise. If you only lift very light weights, your muscles won't get stronger. The same applies to language. Movies push you out of your comfort zone, forcing your brain to adapt, to work harder, and to become more flexible with English. So what does this look like in practice? Let's imagine two learners. The first one spends all their time reading grammar books, memorizing rules, and filling out worksheets. The second one watches movies in English every night, listens carefully, and starts picking up natural expressions. Who do you think will sound more fluent in real conversations after 6 months? The answer is clear: the second learner. Because fluency isn't just about knowledge, it's about practice and exposure. Movies give you endless hours of exposure to authentic English, and that exposure translates directly into fluency. Of course, watching movies passively is not enough. You need to turn it into an active learning experience. And here's how. Start by choosing movies that genuinely interest you. If you love science fiction, watch sci-fi. If you prefer romance, go for that. The key is motivation. When you're interested in the story, you naturally pay more attention. Then focus on small details. Listen for repeated phrases. Notice how characters greet each other, argue, apologize, or make jokes. Pause the movie if you need to. Repeat lines out loud, imitating the actors. This practice, often called shadowing, is an excellent way to improve your pronunciation and rhythm. Another technique is to keep a notebook while you watch. Write down new words or expressions, but don't just list them. Write the whole sentence. This way, you'll remember the word in context, not in isolation. Later, you can review your notes and even try using those phrases in your own conversations. Here's another powerful exercise. Rewatch scenes. The first time you watch, you might only catch 30% of what's happening. But the second or third time, you'll understand more. Each repetition deepens your comprehension and makes the language stick. It's like peeling layers off an onion. Every time you watch, you uncover new details. Now let's consider one more dimension: consistency. Watching one movie once a month won't change your English. But if you watch a little bit every day or several times a week, the results add up quickly. Think of it as building a habit. Just like exercising a few times a week makes your body stronger, exposing yourself to English regularly through movies strengthens your brain's ability to process the language. The key is frequency and consistency. Finally, let's not forget the joy factor. Learning English doesn't have to feel like punishment. When you use movies as a learning tool, you're combining study with pleasure. You're giving yourself permission to relax, to enjoy, and to learn at the same time. That balance keeps you motivated, and motivation is the fuel that drives long-term success. So far, we've talked about how movies create immersion, why they're authentic, how they train your ear, and why they're emotionally memorable. We've also covered practical strategies like active listening, shadowing, keeping a notebook, and rewatching scenes. But this is just the beginning. In the next part, we'll go deeper into how to use subtitles effectively to unlock even more learning opportunities, making your movie-watching sessions not only fun, but also highly productive for your English growth. The power of subtitles. In the first part, we explored how movies create immersion, how they expose you to authentic language, and how they can train your listening skills and memory in powerful ways. But to unlock the full potential of watching movies for learning English, we need to talk about one crucial tool: subtitles. Subtitles are not just a crutch for beginners. If used strategically, they can become a bridge between confusion and comprehension, between frustration and progress. In this section, we're going to dive into why subtitles are so important, how to use them in different stages of your learning, and practical methods that will make your study sessions far more effective. Let's begin with the most common question: should I watch with subtitles in my native language or in English? The answer depends on your level and your goals. If you're just starting your English journey, subtitles in your native language can help you follow the plot and avoid frustration. They allow you to stay engaged with the story, even when the dialogue feels overwhelming. But, and this is important, you should treat this stage as temporary. Relying only on subtitles in your native language keeps you in a comfort zone. You might understand the story, but you won't train your ear to connect sounds with words. That's where English subtitles come in. Watching with English subtitles is one of the most powerful ways to improve your language skills. Why? Because it creates a direct connection between what you hear and what you see. Your brain begins to map sounds to written words, which strengthens both your listening and your reading skills simultaneously. For example, you might hear someone say "gonna" and see the subtitle "going to." That moment of recognition teaches you that what sounds like "gonna" is actually shorthand for "going to." This is how you start to understand the natural flow of spoken English. Another benefit of English subtitles is vocabulary acquisition. When you hear a new word, it can disappear quickly if you don't know how to spell it. But when you see the word written in the subtitle, you can capture it, write it down, and look it up later. Subtitles turn fleeting sounds into visible knowledge. Over time, this helps you build a richer, more precise vocabulary. But let's take it a step further: strategic subtitle use. Many learners fall into the trap of always using subtitles without thinking about how. They simply read them like a book and forget to listen actively. That's not effective. The real power of subtitles comes when you use them intentionally. Here are some practical strategies. Dual watching method: watch the same scene twice. The first time, watch it with English subtitles. Pay close attention to the words, expressions, and the way they connect to the sounds. Then watch the same scene again, but this time without subtitles. See how much you can catch on your own. This contrast strengthens your listening skills and gives you confidence that you can understand without constant support. Pause and repeat. Don't be afraid to pause the movie. If a character says something interesting or useful, stop, read the subtitle, and repeat it out loud. Try to mimic the intonation, rhythm, and even the emotion. This technique, known as shadowing, helps you train your pronunciation and develop a natural speaking style. Over time, you'll find yourself using those same expressions in real conversations. Vocabulary journaling. Keep a dedicated notebook or digital file where you write down new words and phrases from the subtitles. But don't just list single words. Write down the full sentence. For example, instead of only noting "apologize," write, "I wanted to apologize for what happened." This way, you learn words in context, which makes them easier to remember and use correctly later. Gradual subtitle reduction. Think of subtitles like training wheels on a bicycle. At first, they help you balance, but eventually you need to take them off. Try challenging yourself. Watch the first 20 minutes of a movie with subtitles, then turn them off for the next 10 minutes. Or watch the entire movie with subtitles and then re-watch key scenes without them. This gradual reduction builds independence and listening confidence. Now let's address a common fear. If I stop using subtitles, I won't understand anything. And yes, at first it will feel uncomfortable, but that discomfort is part of the growth process. You don't need to understand 100% of what's being said. Even catching 50% or 60% is progress. The key is to keep pushing your limits little by little. Over time, your brain adapts, and you'll be surprised at how much you can understand without relying on subtitles. Another smart approach is to use subtitles selectively. Not every scene needs to be studied in detail. Pick key scenes that are rich in dialogue or particularly interesting to you. Study those scenes intensively with subtitles, and then enjoy the rest of the movie more casually. This balance keeps the learning process both effective and enjoyable, but subtitles do more than just teach language. They also reveal nuances of culture and expression. Sometimes the subtitle shows a literal translation, but the character's tone or body language adds another layer of meaning. Paying attention to these subtleties helps you understand not just the words, but the emotions behind them. For example, a sarcastic comment may sound polite on the surface, but the subtitle and the actor's delivery reveal the humor. These are the kinds of details that make your understanding of English deeper and more authentic. Here's another powerful exercise: subtitle switching. Start a movie with English subtitles. Halfway through, switch to your native language subtitles just to confirm you're following the story. Then switch back to English subtitles again. This back and forth technique keeps you engaged while training both comprehension and listening. It's like giving your brain a workout in different modes. One more important point. Subtitles can also help you understand different accents in English. For many learners, British English, Australian English, or even certain American regional accents can be challenging. With subtitles, you don't just guess what was said, you confirm it. Over time, your ear becomes more flexible and you start recognizing variations in pronunciation more easily. Now let's talk about consistency. Just like with immersion, the benefits of subtitles come from regular use. If you watch one movie a month with subtitles, the impact will be small. But if you make it a habit, watching even 20 minutes a day, you'll see significant progress. Consistency transforms subtitles from a passive tool into an active accelerator of your learning. Finally, remember this. Subtitles are a tool, not a dependency. They should support your learning, not replace it. The ultimate goal is to enjoy movies in English without needing subtitles at all. But don't rush the process. Think of it as a journey. In the beginning, subtitles guide you like a friendly teacher. Later, they become a safety net. And eventually, you won't need them at all, because you'll have developed the skills to fly on your own. To summarize, subtitles are a powerful ally in your English learning journey. They connect sound with text, reinforce vocabulary, reveal cultural nuances, and provide a bridge between confusion and comprehension. When used strategically, with methods like dual watching, pausing and repeating, journaling, and gradual reduction, they can transform your movie nights into dynamic language learning sessions. And just like immersion itself, subtitles make the process enjoyable. Instead of feeling lost or frustrated, you feel supported and motivated. Every line of dialogue becomes an opportunity to learn. Every scene becomes a classroom, and every movie becomes a stepping stone toward fluency. Now that we've covered the importance of immersion and the power of subtitles, it's time to move on to the next step: how to transform simple entertainment into a structured, enjoyable, and highly effective learning routine. In the next section, we'll explore how to turn movies into a personal learning system using repetition, active practice, and smart strategies that make English learning not just possible, but exciting. Turning movies into your learning system. We've talked about the power of immersion, and we've explored how subtitles can accelerate your understanding and confidence in English. Now, as we bring everything together, let's focus on the final step: making movies part of your personal learning system. Here's the truth. Watching one movie here and there won't transform your English, but turning movie watching into a consistent habit can. The goal is to move from random exposure to structured practice. And the good news is, it doesn't have to feel like studying. It can remain fun, engaging, and motivating. Here are 3 simple steps to finalize your system. Choose wisely. Pick movies and series that you actually enjoy. The more you connect with the story, the more naturally you'll absorb the language. Motivation is the engine of progress. Create a routine. Decide when and how you'll watch. Even 15-20 minutes a day can make a huge difference over time. Consistency beats intensity. Review and reuse. Don't just watch once and forget. Revisit favorite scenes, repeat lines, and practice them in your daily life. This repetition turns passive input into active skill. And finally, remember this: learning English through movies is not about perfection, it's about progress. Every word you understand, every phrase you repeat, every scene you connect with brings you closer to fluency. Step by step, movie by movie, you're not just improving your English. You're building confidence, cultural awareness, and the ability to truly communicate with the world. So grab your favorite film, turn on those subtitles strategically, and dive into English. Make learning part of your story, because in the end, the best way to master a language is to live it. Thank you so much for watching this video here on Everyday English in Canada. I hope these tips help you see movies not just as entertainment, but as a powerful tool to take your English to the next level. If you found value in this content, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support really makes a difference and helps us keep creating more videos for you. Keep practicing, keep enjoying the journey, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care and keep learning every day.